Long-lived loads for percussion revolvers. William Hovey Smith, 2013. I'm the author of X-Treme Muzzleloading, and here we load revolvers for long-term use.
I'm Hovey Smith, the corresponding editor for Black Powder for the Gun Digest Annual. Today, I'd like to show you how to put together a long-lasting load in a percussion revolver. The Percussion Revolver was the predecessor to modern cartridge guns. In front of me on the table is the Charter Arms Bulldog, which is a .44 caliber special pistol. All right, it swings out and it loads very simply. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5th cartridge would go. And voila, the pistol is loaded. Now the .44 Special that I loaded right here is a stronger cartridge and longer cartridge than its predecessor, the .44 Russian, which is here, or this is a little original case from a .44 British Bulldog that was probably shot sometime in the 1870s that I picked up in Arizona. So okay. Here are 3 different .44 caliber pistols. The 1858 Remington over here has the capability of holding about the equivalent amounts of powder as a .44 Special. That is between 37 and 39 grains. But one problem we found out, we loaded this pistol up and we kept it loaded for 6 months and then we shot it. And how did it do? Well, not very well. 5 out of the 6 shots fired, actually. The 6th one did fire on the 2nd drop of a hammer, but the load was a squib load. It had deteriorated considerably. And whereas the original load developed 160 foot-pounds of muzzle energy, the squib load did only 20 foot-pounds, 2-0.
We're going to be shooting is a Remington 1858 percussion revolver. This gun has been loaded for 6 months.
These are very puny sounding loads, and they really are. The problem is that I loaded a lubricated Wonder Wad underneath the ball, and the lubricants from the wad have actually spoiled the powder. And you just saw that I had a misfire there. That was caused by the cap not actually being seated all the way down on the nipple.
In that load, I had used a lubricated wad underneath the bullet, and the lubricant from that wad had obviously spoiled the black powder. All right. Now the .44 Special here develops 215 foot-pounds. So we have 215 for the .44 Special, 160 for the black powder load from here, and 20 foot-pounds for the squib load. Burp. So obviously we want to load something that will do better than that. So we will not load the lubricated Wonder Wad underneath the ball. It doesn't matter if you're loading and shooting the same day, but it does matter if you store the thing for 6 months or so. Now we're also going to do things to improve the longevity of the load. This is X-Treme. Black powder will stay stable for centuries. It has been amply demonstrated many times. It is still used as the explosive component in U.S. artillery shells, for example, and it was used in World War II to fire 16-inch guns from battleships. So yeah, it's good stuff and it's stable. All right, that's a good attribute. We're also going to load the larger size of 2 possible balls for this pistol. Now you can shoot this pistol with balls that have 4.51 ball diameters or 4.54s. The 4.54s will fit a little tighter in the cylinder and you'll actually shave off a little more lead when you actually load it. Okay? So that results in a somewhat tighter seal. Then we're going to put a wax wad on top of that load. So between tight-fitting ball, wax wads, we should protect the front end of the charge pretty well. Now the rear end of the charge will have, of course, a percussion cap on. And the percussion cap is always the weakest link in the percussion system. These caps can fall off. You can get moisture seeping up along the side of the caps and spoiling the caps. The compound can deteriorate somewhat if it's exposed continuously to wet or damp weather. So, you want to make sure your caps fit and that they are tightly fitted on the nipples. Alright, so we're going to get around to building our load. Now, since this is going to be a significant self-defense load, and we're going to keep it in the gun for months before it may be used, and when we use it, we may really actually need it to do something deadly, we're going to be extremely careful in putting it together and actually weigh out all our powder charges using absolutely fresh powder poured from this can. So I'm going to be about doing that. We have a scale in front of me. It's zeroed. So we're going to set this for 39 grains. 39 grains. All right. Pour out the powder on a clean sheet. You'll notice I am not smoking, and there's no source of flame anywhere nearby. All right. Dribble the powder using this card into the pan. All right, that's exactly it. Now, we have this measure, and it doesn't make any difference what it is set on because we're just using it as a carrying vehicle now. Okay. Now, in these revolvers, I use a little cut-off cartridge case as a funnel, and this is the most effective means I know to make sure that all of the charge actually gets into the chamber. Okay. Pour it down in there. Okay. So we have our round ball. We put our round ball over the charge. We put the pistol on half cock. We rotate the ball underneath the rammer. Make sure everything is centered up carefully. Put a little pad between your palm and the rammer. Seat and crimp the ball. Okay, now how did that do? That did very well indeed. And the ball is now below the mouth of the chamber slightly. And there's a little piece of lead right there that I just picked off the chamber. And we put our wax wad over the top of it. Now this wax is pretty good stuff and it's pretty stable, meaning it will stand more heat than a lot of other things. But this will absolutely seal this ball and lubricate it when it shoots. Okay. Well, that's one chamber loaded, and we're going to load up the rest, and I'll bring up the camera so you can see it in more detail. Now these are the 3 cartridge cases that I mentioned, and we weighed out our charge right here. We're going to pour it in our charger. Okay. Close it. Our goody little funnel in. Pour. Okay. Retrieve our ball. Thus. Over the chamber. Rotate. Wiggle a little bit just to make sure it's seated absolutely even. Crunch. Crunch. Got that? All right.
Flick aside the little ring of metal, and that's that. Okay. Rotate it around. Take your wax wad, fit it over the other side, rotate it and make sure it all clears, and you have that chamber loaded. So that's basically the loading sequence for getting a weather-tight load in a percussion revolver. Now, this load won't last indefinitely, however. So if you're actually carrying this for serious purposes, yeah, a Wild Bill Hitchcock actually fired and reloaded his guns every day. Well, don't have to do it quite that commonly as long as the guns are dry and protected. But if they're exposed to weather, if it falls into water or any of the similar things, yeah, you need to shoot them off and re-clean them, probably, or at least replace the percussion caps on a monthly basis. As you can see now, the pistol is completely loaded. Yep, all 6 chambers. The Remington 1858 has a very positive safety notch between each of the chambers. So you can lower your hammer down on the safety notch and safely carry the gun with 6 rounds loaded. Otherwise, so far as this gun goes, how effective is it? Well, I use this as a backup gun when I am hunting, and I have made a kill with it at 50 yards on a wounded deer, and the bullet penetrated about 12 inches through the hide, the ribs, the lungs, and embedded in the offside leg after going through the shoulder. It is not as powerful as even the regular loading of the 44 Special, however. I would not recommend this gun be used as a primary hunting gun, for example. There are more effective guns with longer barrels and with 777 powder where you can get very good velocities out of it. Not with this gun. Now, about the percussion caps themselves. When you crimp these caps, you want to make sure that you pinch the ends of them and push them on the nipples solidly so that they form as tight a seal as they can.
Besides X-Treme muzzleloading, I'm also the author of Backyard Deer Hunting, Crossbow Hunting, and Practical Bowfishing, and all of these are available as softcover and ebooks. For 2013-14, I have an 8-book ebook series being published. Out right now is Hunting Big and Small Game with Muzzleloading Pistols, and I will have another book, Hunting with Muzzleloading Revolvers, out for 2014. The load used in this gun was 39 grains of Go-X FFFG, a 4.54 round ball, wax wads, number 11 percussion caps. For more information on my books, blogs, and videos, go to my website at www.hoveysmith.com. Good hunting and good eating from the outdoors. Goodbye and God bless.